Why would they? We're not a third world country. Why would the United States submit to a larger entity to run its sovereign?
Because
nation?
we have corporate interests that want vertical integration and want to end our industrial society, to make the public more manageable, and to impose a forced planetary one-child policy. Have you read the textbook written by White House science czar John P. Holdren?
I didn't know he had czars. That's a media invention, that word. I know I didn't read his textbook, but I've read about him. And again, I read how the people who, again, fear Obama and believe that he's a Marxist are somehow going to take over the world. This is conspiracy theory stuff, Alex.
Well, Alan, I think that's the left cover argument. And I know they have the right now playing the part of the party out of power. And so now they can talk about the New World Order and make it a discredited Glenn Beck, Rush Limbaugh, right-wing situation. I think the fake neocon, warmongering, torture-loving criminals, with all of their insider deals with no-bid weapons contracts, they should love Obama. Continuing secret arrest, continuing indefinite.
You and I will probably agree. The idea of rendering, there was a story yesterday that there is a secret prison in Lithuania in a riding academy. The fact that this is going on, and this is where, when I hear conservatives talk about Obama being a radical liberal and Marxist and how, he's taken the country. No, he's not. He's doing, unfortunately, some of the same things I was critical of the Bush administration for doing.
At least you'll admit that. Most liberals will just say, no, he's not. And in fact, he's intensifying a lot of this. So
the idea that we would render to other countries because we don't want to be seen as torturers, and also the idea that they want to give a pass to executives of previous administrations. There are people who believe, certainly on the left, that Bush and Cheney ought to be prosecuted, particularly Cheney, and that they've announced a hands-off policy, and that you have Eric Holder, who's going to go after the CIA possibly, but they're not going to go after the actual torture memo writers and the attorneys who gave Bush and Cheney permission to violate the Constitution.
AlanColmes.com, syndicated radio host. You can tune in. What was that noise? We just lost his line. We've got him back. Alan, are you there?
Yeah, that was the government listening in, Alex.
No, it's probably the deteriorating infrastructure in this country falling apart.
Yes, it's part of the one world government taking over.
Alan, you don't have a microchip in your brain, do you?
Not that I know of.
Are you a reptoid?
Not that I know of.
Maybe you're just a voice hologram. Maybe I'm not even talking to Alan Colmes.
Alex, I've had surgery in my life. Who knows what they've implanted in me when I was under anesthesia?
Maybe you're just a computer program that Rupert Murdoch has there at the Fox studios.
And he may have done such a good job that I actually think I'm human.
But there's actually an argument for that Hannity could be a wind-up toy android. You just pull the string and he has like 10 statements he makes.
I would have no knowledge of that.
You're a great American, Alan. Oh, my God. This is insane.
Well, let me ask you, because you highlighted this. We were talking about Glenn Beck. A lot of people compare the two of you. A lot of people believe that, your act and his in many ways are similar. So I would think there'd be some compatibility there.
No, because the establishment is creating this patriotoid, conspiracitoid counterfeit where Glenn Beck says he's fighting the New World Order, but then says we've got to launch new wars, and the Arabs have snuck nukes into the country. And right when Ron Paul had a chance to actually win during the primaries, Glenn Beck came out and said, this money bomb, that means blowing up people. He may be a terrorist. His listeners, we may need to use the army against them. I mean, these are almost exact quotes. And then the Wall Street Journal's reporting they've built some FEMA camps. Beck comes out and says, none of them exist. None of them exist. And then he acts like a complete Fruit Loop. No, I'm serious, on purpose. He's an actor, a very good actor. Because I've been listening to him off and on for like 9 years. So I've seen his evolution, and I just know he's as phony as a $3 bill. And I'm all about real. Even if I don't like somebody, if they're real, I tend to respect them. But I don't like Glenn Beck because he's a Judas goat meant to take control of the Tea Parties, take control of the libertarian movement that Ron Paul heads, and flush it down the Rupert Murdoch toilet.
Well, I don't mean by flush it down the Rupert Murdoch toilet. He's probably Ron Paul's biggest advocate, along with Judge Napolitano here at Fox News. They seem to be appealing to a lot of the very same people who support Ron Paul.
But see, that's how. Well, I think Napolitano's for real. So I like.
Oh, he is. He's a true libertarian.
No, I mean he's actually against the torture. He's actually against the war.
Correct.
He never changes.
Against the Patriot Act.
But not Glenn Beck. I've seen Glenn Beck. He said, okay, this is why I don't like Glenn Beck. I want to quit talking about him because I want to talk to Alan Colmes. But Alan, I have video clips. We played them here where he said the banker bailout is good. We must have it or it's all over. Then he came back 3 months later and said, I was against the bailout. He comes out and says he's for the Patriot Act. I mean, he's a flip-flopper.
Well, I honestly have not followed him that closely, so I could not cite for you chapter verse about what he said. But many people see the two of you in the same category in that you seem to view the government in a similar manner.
Well, I want to be clear. If I embraced Glenn Beck and kissed up to him, I could be on his show, and I've had little entrees laid out from neocon organizations to go join them, and I'm not. So I'm not here attacking Beck because I'm jealous of his big TV show, as some people say. I'm attacking Beck because I saw this guy say he was for the banker bailout and then later say he never was. I mean, and there's 100 examples of this. So I believe he's a Benedict Arnold.
Okay, well, I guess we won't see you on his show anytime soon then.
No, you won't be
in the building, but apparently not.
No, you won't see me anywhere near there because I've got to be real. I mean, that's all I got, Alan. Speaking of being real, let's go to the fake left here, and I want your take on this. Chris Matthews, Carlos Watson, people on CNN, Anderson Cooper. I'm sure you've seen this. Everywhere saying, look at the Tea Parties. Look at that woman. That's code for not liking black people. Oh, if you say it's socialism, that's code for racism. No, I mean, even Newsweek said we're all socialists now, that this is a move towards more collectivism. Isn't that liberal limousine, liberal race pimping to always inject race in to make it a polarizing issue?
No, I don't think saying that Obama is a socialist or headed down the road of socialism means you're a racist. I do think among those people, not all of them, but I do think a substantial number of people who've been promoting this birther movement, that he was born in Kenya, he's not really an American, he's black, that he's not one of us. I think among the teabaggers, the Tea Partiers, whatever you call them, there are people who do, there have been racist signs, and there are among those people, there are enough some of them are racist, enough to make me uncomfortable. And there are people who don't like the fact that a black guy who they believe was born in another country is president of the United States. If that's not, some of that is racist.
I'm sure you can find a small percentage that are, but most people that are mad at President Obama are mad because he's for the banker bailout, he's for future bailouts, he's for more wars, he's for the Patriot Act now, he's for warrantless wiretapping, and they don't like, he said he was going to balance the budget and cut spending, and he's outdone Bush in his first year.
The stimulus package, of course you're going to spend it before you start closing that gap. He wasn't going to balance the budget in 9 months. He's been president for 9 months. It takes a long time to clear up the mess, the detritus that was left by the previous administration. The idea that he by now should have balanced the budget, it's crazy. It's take years to do that, but he's got to move us toward that. The first thing, though, is to spend money to get the economy going again.
Alan, let me go back on this, on the issue of, and this is what Matthews and others have said, that it is code for racism to say the word socialism. Let's say 10% of the people that are birthers or Tea Party members, a lot of these are my listeners out there saying, defend our Second Amendment, defend our sovereignty. It's mean to call them teabaggers, and it's a way to demonize them politically, and it's a good throwaway line, and I wish you wouldn't use it, but I know it's too much fun. But at its core, people are genuinely upset with Obama, and by the mainstream media and the fake liberal media invoking racism, it's creating a lot more racial tension than maybe 10% of anti-Obama people being truly racist. I think it's wrong. You don't agree that invoking, that when someone hears the word socialism, a lot of people believe that. They now think if I speak out against socialism, which really is just corporate corruption, they always steal the money. Even if you're for socialism, it never works because of the corruption. Isn't that invoking all sorts of racial division? Doesn't the left...
I don't think saying socialism indicates racism. I think, as I said,